Chat, what's going on? Top of the day, top of the morning. I need a haircut. I know. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, don't judge me, okay? But hear me out. On today's topic, we will be talking about what if you couldn't fail? How would you perform if you could not fail? How would you perform if you could not lose? What if you can win? What if you can achieve what it is that you're trying to do? What if you've just been perceiving everything in a negative light based off of past experiences? Okay, let me get into it. What if you have been looking into your past experiences to dictate your future outcome? You should say it again. Okay. What have you been looking at your past experiences to dictate your future outcome? What do you mean by that? I'm explaining. When you were a child, you were a baby, you were so pure. You were full of so much joy and creativity. You didn't question things. You were willing to jump when you wanted to jump. You were willing to try things when you wanted to try. You showed real emotion. You didn't have fears. The world put these fears into you, these fake external fears. The world put it into you as you became more and more conscious. As you grew up, you became more conscious. So when you were little, the fears you had, you didn't care about. You were willing to try again. But you became so conscious that you adopted these fears and took them as your own and made them into something where it affected you mentally. So every time you tried to do something when you were little and it didn't work, you try to walk and you fail, guess what you did, bro? You got back up. And then you fell again. And you got back up again. And you got back up again. And you got back up again because you didn't care. So why is that? Why is it now that as an adult, you fall and you stay down? You miss a day working out on your ab journey and you give up. You miss a day working out and you fall back into old habits and old belief systems that were not serving you from the jump. That's why you switched it from the jump, because they weren't serving you. Why? Because the world instilled these fears and anxiety on you. So how do you get rid of that? How do we combat this fear and anxiety? Well, it starts up here. What do you believe about yourself? Do you tell yourself every single day with conviction that you can do something? I can be this. I can get abs. I can get my dream body. I can eat right. I can make more money. I can do it. I can do it. And I believe that I can do it. I believe I won't fail. And when you have that type of conviction about failing and winning, and when I say conviction about failing, I mean conviction about failing as in knowing that you cannot fail. Even if failure comes, you won't even dictate it as failure, because you'll simply see it in a whole different light, because you just accepted that failure isn't an option. So failure, in my eyes, is when you fall and you don't get up. You failed. But when you fall and you get back up, what did you fail? What did you fail? You just learned. You didn't fail. You didn't fail. When you were in school, if you got a straight F on one homework assignment, but then you locked in for the rest of the semester and got all A's, did you fail? Not your report card doesn't say you failed. Your report card says you got a low A. You got pulled down a little bit from that F, but you got a low A. You got an A minus. But I thought we failed though. I thought you had an F. You didn't fail. You just learned. So the reason why you're failing is because you don't believe that you cannot fail. So when failure comes, you resonate and you internalize failure, and you let it become a part of your identity. So what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? How would you act? You thinking about it right now. You thinking about how you would act if you couldn't fail. That way that you're thinking right now, that should be the way that you actually think in real time. You should be able to say to yourself, I won't fail. I cannot fail. I will not fail. That doesn't mean that things can't go wrong. Things can go wrong. That can happen. In fact, I'll be honest with you. I'll be so honest with you. In fact, there's a high probable chance that something will go wrong. Yeah. There's a high probable chance that something indeed will go wrong. There's a high probable chance that something along your journey won't go the way that you want it to go. And you have to be okay with that. But understand that when you don't believe in failure, that you don't internalize a loss as just failure. You internalize a loss as something where you can get back up. So let's go back to the beginning. What would you do if you knew that you could not fail? Let me give you an example. I've never done something like this. I've never done something like this where I have to show up every day and record videos and talk to you guys and speak life into you guys. But I told myself that I won't stop. Like, I won't fail at this thing. Like, I will not fail. Because in my head, I said, if I just believe that I won't fail, I know that I'll continue to just keep shooting these videos to the point where it's literally just natural. Like, I'm just waking up, just shooting these videos, pure conviction, video after video, dropping 4 or 5 reels on 3-4 different platforms every single day. I'm talking about consistent as the sun. It's because I just believed that I wouldn't fail. If you would have asked me before I started this process, who do you think you would be if you believed that you could do it and you believe you couldn't fail at this? I'd say I believe if I couldn't fail, I'd probably be posting every day. And I'd probably be doing reels and everything on like 4 or 5 different platforms. And I'd be making YouTube videos every single day. And here we are. So what does that say about me? What have your past habits said about you? What has the way you've been treating the thing that you want say about you? What has the way you've been treating this program say about you? What does it say about you? Take accountability. Be real with yourself. You don't have to lie to yourself. You can lie to everybody else in the world. But be honest with yourself. Please. Please. You can lie to everybody else and nobody will know you're lying. But when you lie to yourself, you know you're lying. You know you ain't telling the truth. You know you're not telling the damn truth. So don't lie. Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't lie to yourself. Who would you be if you didn't believe that you could fail? Think about it right now. Think about it. Write it down. Put it somewhere. If I couldn't fail, I'd be like this. And then once you come up with that list, that group of personality traits and characteristics, I want you to look at that list and say, why am I not this person? What happened in my life that made me not this person? Dig deep, bro. Dig deep. Find the root problem. Why am I not this person that I literally just described? Why? Oh, because I'm not consistent enough. Why? Because I don't believe in myself enough. Why? Because when I grew up, I wasn't taught to believe in things that was outside of the norm of what everybody else does. You see? It's a root to everything. It's a root to everything. It's a reason why you're here today. Okay? It's a reason why you're here today. Chase the person who doesn't believe they can fail. There's a version of you in this world that doesn't believe that they could fail. There's a version of you who believes they could potentially fail. There's a version of you who believes they'll always fail. Which plane of existence will you resonate with? Which plane of existence will you set as true and create into reality? They all exist. They all exist at one time. You can hear them, literally. Some days, when you want to do something, you hear the weak one. Then some days, you hear the one that's unsure. Then some days, you hear the one that's super motivated. It's not random. It's not just thoughts. It's you on different plane levels communicating with you in reality in real time. So will you listen? Will you obey your desires? Will you obey desire? Or will you listen to your fears? Will you obey fears? Which one will you obey? Because you have to obey one. I don't obey nothing. Okay, so don't. So that means you obey nothingness. So that means you get what? What is the word we just used? Oh, okay. Nothingness. You get nothingness. So which one will you obey? Will you obey fear or will you obey desire? It's one or the other. You pick. You choose. Which one? I love you guys to death. I want you to think about this today. Who would I be if I couldn't lose, bro? Who would I be? What would I do? What would I look like? How would I act? How would I wake up? How would I go to sleep? How would I talk to myself if I knew I couldn't lose? How would my mind shape itself if I knew I couldn't lose? It's that simple. Think about it. Resonate with it. I love you guys. Show up tomorrow, 7 a.m. Let's go.